Hey guys, Steve here from Restalgia. Thanks for tuning in. We are right around the corner from the BleemSync 1.0 release, as you guys can see from the current BleemSync countdown. It is currently 5:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are 1 day, 13 hours, 41 minutes, and 35 seconds away from the official public release. What I'm going to be doing in this video is actually giving you guys a showcase of the BleemSync 1.0 version build that I have, which is a beta release. Now keep in mind that it is not 100% perfect. The developers are working super hard to clean up any of the bugs, but I figured I would give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek on what you can see and what 1.0 has to offer. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at version 1.0 right now. Alright guys, so here it is on this USB drive. I've got the build for BleemSync 1.0. So here it is. Just wanted to show you guys that it's definitely on this USB drive and it is fantastic. It is awesome, and just wanted to show you that it is there and it is functioning fantastic. That's pretty much all I've got for this video, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and I'm totally just joking, guys. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the PlayStation Classic now so I can show you the real demo of BleemSync 1.0. Alright guys, so here we are. This is actually BleemSync 1.0. So we're just going to wait a second for it to load up. And there we go. So now we are in our boot menu. One big change that you're going to notice right away is we no longer have that static black background. We now have an image back there, and that image can be completely customized to whatever you want. So you can actually go into the back end files, you pop your USB drive into your computer, open it up, and just replace that image file, and you can have it set to whatever you want. So that's definitely something I'm going to be playing around with, and I'll probably make some changes, but that won't be in this video. That'll be a little bit down the road when I'm kind of building out the build that I currently have. Another big thing that you guys are going to notice is if I stop talking, you are going to hear some background music playing in the background. So I'm just going to stop talking for a second so you guys can hear that. So yeah, you can hear that background music playing in the background. That music as well can be completely customized. So you can go in, pop your USB drive into your computer, open up the files, pull the music file that you don't, or the existing music file out, and put one in that you do like, and you can actually have music running in your boot menu. And I do want to note or make a note that the background music is only on this screen. When you actually go into RetroArch or you go into BleemSync, neither one of those have background music. I hope that's something that they change in future builds, but I'm not holding my breath. I know that they've got so much already that they're having to work with. So that would just be like a little bit of a nice feature going forward, maybe 2 or 3 builds down the road. But definitely so far, things are looking really, really nice. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load up BleemSync, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like now. So as you guys can see here, there is a stock theme that's in there that is not the PlayStation Classic theme. That can be changed, but what essentially that shows us is that there is theme support built right into this build. So you can go in, and if there's a build that you already like, for example the Metal Gear Solid build, or if there was a different build, I saw a Final Fantasy build, and there's a ton of builds out there. If you found one that you really like, you can put that in place, and you can set that theme so that way it plays. The other option that you can do now is you can set 3 or 4 different themes. Let's say you like the Metal Gear Solid one, you like this one that's currently on screen, and you like the Final Fantasy theme that there is. You can set it up that it'll randomly select a theme on boot every single time. So every time you turn on your console and you select BleemSync, you'll have a different theme visible to you. Another thing that I'm going to talk about here is, as you can see, I've got a ton of games going on in the in my build here. I don't have all the games that I wanted to put on there, but I definitely loaded up a bunch for the purposes of actually making a video without having no games. One of the big things that you're going to notice is things like Cool Borders 2 with a different back, or I guess with a different cover art. Destruction Derby, What else is there? Final Fantasy VII. Those are games that were originally on the PlayStation Classic, and what the developers have done is they've allowed those games to get filtered in to the BleemSync hack. So Final Fantasy VII and all those other 20 games that were originally on the console will show up in your carousel wheel through BleemSync, even without adding those games. So that's a nice feature right out of the box. Without loading any games, you're going to have at the very least the stock 20 games that came on the console. And then I've added a bunch of other games as well. What I would say is that the current application that they use is actually really handy. So you load your games into it, it spits it out onto your USB drive, and you can actually then customize how you want it to be displayed. So if you wanted to have games in a specific order and you didn't want them alphabetically, you just go into the application and you reorganize whichever games you want in whatever order. And that's a really nice feature, because when we were dealing with BleemSync 0.4.1, if you added a new game 2 weeks after you started, you would have to go in and you'd have to rename all your file folders and you'd have to change the order of everything, and it was really cumbersome and very tedious. But that's no longer the case. So far, what I've seen in this build, it looks really good. There's a ton of customizable features that I'm not going to get into right now because this is just kind of a showcase video. But yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic, and I am really excited to get a full and final release coming out in the next couple days. So this is just to kind of wet your whistle to show you guys exactly what we are looking at with BleemSync 1.0. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to switch over to RetroArch to show you guys another cool feature that they've added that I think is absolutely fantastic. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to make that switch over right now. All right, guys, so we are back at our boot menu, and I'm just going to go ahead and load up RetroArch. So the first thing that we're going to notice right away is that the RetroArch visually is a little bit different than the previous build. You can see that they've included a theme, and I guess that means that we're going to have some good theme support here. So there may be a different theme that you like. You'll be able to upload that in, and yeah, that's a cool feature there. The big thing that I wanted to show you guys over here was, if you scroll over to the far right side, you can see that there is a collection. And that collection is going to be, if you notice in the top left-hand corner, it says PlayStation Classic-Internal. What they've gone ahead and done is they have forced the games from the original PlayStation Classic to display as a collection on RetroArch. So now you can actually load any of the first or any of the original 20 games that were on the PlayStation Classic right through RetroArch without having to do any of the back-end work here. So just to show you guys that it does work, I'm going to go ahead and select Rayman. And I'm going to press X to run the content. And now we've got that Rayman game that came stock on the console. And again, I did not add this to the console. This was one of the games that were originally installed on the console. And it's going to run through RetroArch rather than having to run through the PlayStation Classic emulator that was built in. So one thing you will notice is that I did have a long black screen there. I think that's just the loading. I'm sure with optimization that comes out in future builds, that'll get cleaned up and it'll reduce the amount of wait time. But so far the game itself runs fine, and what you may find is that games will run better through the cores that are built into RetroArch rather than through the stock emulator on the PlayStation Classic. But that's not the case for all games. That is the case for most games, but it is certainly not the case for all games. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. Just start and select to get back to your quick menu, and I'm just going to go ahead and close the content. That'll take us back to our RetroArch homepage, and other than that, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I genuinely appreciate the support that you guys have had for the channel and all the comments, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to make more videos for you guys. I'm currently working on a tutorial video on how to install BleemSync 1.0 because it is a little bit more demanding than previous build. It does take a little bit more, I don't want to say energy, but it does take a little bit more effort. So you'll have to be patient, and you'll have to really pay attention and make sure that you guys are doing things step by step. But other than that, it's looking like it's a really solid build. From what I was reading as well, the future updates, so 1.1 when it's released, or 1.2 or 1.5 or whatever it happens to be that comes out next, it'll be very easy to upgrade. So although this upgrade may be a little bit more difficult, anything going past this will be much easier to do, so you don't have to worry about too much about that then. So yeah, like I said, I am working on a tutorial video for 1.0 already. I'm just going to wait for the next beta releases, any of the patches to come out, to make sure that I'm giving you guys the most up-to-date content, but I'm planning to release that video alongside with the official release of BleemSync 1.0, and there's a few other YouTubers that are doing some awesome videos as well. We're all on the approved roster of YouTubers for BleemSync and Mod My Classic, and I'm going to leave a link to their channels in the description below. So they've got a ton of other content. It's not just PlayStation Classic, but make sure you go check out their pages as well, and subscribe to them if you haven't. But other than that, that's it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you give us a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.